Welcome everyone. Today we are doing episode 38, a special video episode of How to Read Chinese Poetry podcast. Having examined the tonal patterns of regulated quatrain in the last episode, we will today learn the tonal patterning of 8-line regulated verse, or 律诗, in both pentasyllabic and heptasyllabic forms. How to construct a 律诗 tonal pattern? It is pretty simple. At the end of the last episode, we did exercises to construct quatrain tonal patterns by following the second and the third rules. Now, simply by adding 2 more couplets to a quatrain tonal pattern, we can produce a regulated verse tonal pattern. Let us first try to construct tonal pattern 1 that begins with this 2-2-1 line. Excellent. Now you have conquered regulated verse tonal pattern 1. Having constructed 律诗 tonal pattern 1, let us now see how it works in the poem Spring Scene by Du Fu, a poem we have already examined in depth in episode 26. Again, after each line is read, we pause to check if its coloring exactly matched that of the tonal table. In this poem, there are 3 characters whose tones do not conform to the tonal pattern. They are all the first character in the line. However, they do not constitute violation of the tonal pattern, because it's generally permissible to change the tones of the first and third character in a line. So we should say instead, Du Fu employs 3 variant tones in this poem.
国破山河在
Yes, a perfect match.
城春草木深
Again, the tones of the characters match that of the tonal table.
感时花溅泪
Well, here we can see a variation here. According to the tonal table, the first character should be in level tone, and here we have a character in oblique tone. But as I mentioned before, it is permissible to use variant tone in the first character of line, in most cases.
恨别鸟惊心
The perfect match. And here the second tone, if read in Mandarin, is a level tone. And this can be misconstrued as a violation of the tonal rule. But actually it is not, because in Middle Chinese or Cantonese is pronounced as an entering tone, bit.
烽火连三月
And here, again, the first character is a variation, and it is a permissible variation. And the last character is pronounced in entering tone. In Middle Chinese,
家书抵万金白头搔更短
if you look at the coloring of the characters and check it against the tonal table, then you notice another variation. it is pronounced in entering tone as a ba. But if you read it in Mandarin, you think there's no variation because bai belongs to the level tone in Mandarin. But actually, it is a violation because it is an entering tone in Middle Chinese.
浑欲不胜簪
We have this character again, yu, pronounced as yok in Middle Chinese and Cantonese. And the fourth character in the last line is pronounced in the level tone, sung. So we can construct tonal pattern 2 following the same step as we did in constructing tonal pattern 1. Having learned how to construct tonal pattern 2, let's look at how it actually works in the poem Climbing the Yueyang Tower with Xia Shi Er.
楼观岳阳尽
By looking at the coloring, you can tell how many variations here. The third character, it changed from the required level tone to be a oblique tone, just to compensate the variation in the third character. The fourth character is also changed to a level tone. We rarely change the tone of the fourth character, but in this case, because the variation in the third character, so the tones of the fourth character has been changed from oblique to level.
川迥洞庭开
Here, you can see the first character is a variant character.
宴饮酬新去
Perfect match.
山弦好月来
Another perfect match. And yue pronounced as yet in Middle Chinese and Cantonese.
云间莲下榻
A perfect match.
天上皆行悲
A variation in the first character. And the third character, jie, is pronounced as jit, entering the ends with an aspirated T.
最后凉风起
吹人舞袖回
So the last couplet, perfect match. Now we can move on to learn how to construct variant tonal patterns. A variant tonal pattern is the one that employs rhyme in the first line, and therefore the first couplet must be made up of 2 lines that ends with a level tone. This is because in written style poetry, all rhyming words must be in level tone. So a variant tonal pattern must begin with this couplet or this couplet. Now let's construct variant 律诗 tonal pattern 1A. Just replace the first line with a line that ends with a level tone. So here we have tonal pattern 1A. Now, how to construct tonal pattern 2A? Just replace the first line with a line that ends with a level tone. So here we have tonal pattern 2A. Having learned how to construct tonal pattern 2A, Let's look at an example and see how it works in an actual poem. The poem chosen for this purpose is Sending of Commander Zhao to Daizhou, composed with the chosen rhyme Qing by Wang Wei.
天官渡江星
A perfect match. Jiang pronounced as a foreign tone in Middle Chinese.
汉地柳条青
Perfect match.
万里鸣刁斗
Another line of perfect match.
三军出警行
Another line of perfect match. Again, here, if we read it in Mandarin, then we'd be tempted to say the third character violates tonal pattern. But in Middle Chinese or Cantonese, it's pronounced as chut, which is an oblique tone.
望身辞凤阙
A perfect match. The last character is pronounced as
缺报国取龙庭
the second character of this line. Guo is pronounced as guo, and it is an entering tone.
启学书生辈
A perfect match. And here, the xue, if we read it in Mandarin, then we'll say the second character violates the tonal pattern. But actually it does not, because in Middle Chinese and Cantonese, it is pronounced as ho. It is an entering tone. So it fits the pattern well, because here the second character requires an oblique tone.
荒间老易经
Again, this is the same problem. If you read it in Mandarin, you say yi is a level tone and it is a violation of the tonal pattern, but actually it is not, because yi is an entering tone word pronounced as yat. So because this poem contains many characters in entering tone, so let's listen the reading of the poem in Cantonese.
天官渡象星，漢地柳條青。萬里鳴刁斗，三軍出井營。忘身辭鳳阙，報國取龍庭。喜學書生輩，槍間老一經。
Let us meet on YouTube and Bilibili next week.